Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back down under the mat. We are here in Madison Square Garage around the pool table of relevancy. This is Mr. Dan Danielson. I'm Roddy Reece, and today we will be starting on a bit of a solemn note. We will be retiring and paying our respects to the name Perk Angle, as it has come out this week on the CVV podcast that Kurt Angle does not like the name Perk Angle. He feels very traumatized by it and reminds him of a very bad time. But
he knows we're saying it with love.
Yes, he knows we're saying it with love, but we will be retiring that name from henceforth, and we will be referring to him as Peak Angle instead.
Cool.
Excellent. Great way to start the podcast.
It's like the one podcast I haven't watched this week was the Kurt Angle episode.
Oh.
I watched like 2 and a bit hours of your mate Baron Corbin. Sorry, Bishop Dyer.
2 hours.
It's a long one, man.
That's a long one.
It's a long one.
Christ.
Sorry, I'm just getting my notes out.
Do we want to start touching on that a little bit? Seeing as you mentioned it.
I mean, what can I remember from it? He's calling himself Bishop Dyer now.
Bishop
also,
Dyer.
For everybody watching, if you're Australian, happy Australia Day long weekend.
Happy Australia Day. Happy
long weekend.
Day.
Don't shut the. We don't need to go down that path, ladies and gentlemen. We'll leave that one as a lice. It's
very contested topic.
Absolutely, don't want anything part of it. It's a long weekend. We have an extra day off work. I think that's the main thing everyone cares about.
We don't.
Yeah. We also obviously talked last night. We went out to the Slam show at the Reload Bar in Canberra City. Saw some wrestling there. A couple of the PWA guys came down. Ricky South, Kai Drake, and a few others. Obviously, a lot of the Slam vets. Luke Watts.
Dan Archer.
Dan Archer was wrestling. Our buddy
Pit Bunny and Maya Maddox.
Yeah, our buddy was relegated to the merch stand.
Our mate King Ben.
I wasn't going to name names. Okay, sorry.
I didn't hear.
Okay, we actually bought a Vinny mug, and between last night and this morning...
It's not here, it's in the car.
we don't know. But anyway, it's a long weekend. We hope everyone's had in Australia, had a great time. Reece and I have had a few too many bevies today, so this podcast might be a little looser than it is normally.
Yeah.
And I'll try...
It should be fun, and that's the main part. It should be a fun podcast.
The whole reason for me to bring all of this up now is that I will do my best to remember things that occurred earlier on in the week. And that includes me watching this podcast.
Yeah.
Baron talked a lot about how much he loves Kansas City Chiefs.
Look, as a Packers fan, I still like the Kansas City Chiefs.
I hate them. They're the worst.
I still like them.
He tells a very fantastic story about how good Taylor Swift is. And that time that he was in the box with Travis and stuff, and they're all like their mates and stuff. So like, there's some fun stories from that.
No objections here.
There's a lot of him talking about the fundraising and stuff that they do for that. There's obviously a lot where he talks about his WWE career, and that there was a perception, I guess, that somebody backstage
didn't like
him,
Corbin.
didn't want to push him. They didn't specifically name names, but eventually I think it came around to being Matt Bloom.
Yeah.
Which is Albert, for those that know, or
Lord Tensai.
That's the one. I think he's predominantly down in NXT now.
Yeah, he's overseeing NXT stuff with Shawn Michaels.
Yeah. But there was like a lot of talk where, like CBV kind of just said, look, a lot of people say you're underrated. You're either one of the most underrated wrestlers or the most overrated wrestlers.
I don't think overrated is the right term for Baron Corbin. I'm that's not just me jumping on his bandwagon because I've been a massive fan for his for a long time.
Isn't it?
It might be a little biased, but I feel like back in the black and gold NXT era, he was a fantastic talent.
Yeah.
The entire crowd was behind him. People would be counting his matches because he used to do like squash matches, but people would count how long. So they'd go like 1 to 30 seconds or whatever. Yeah. However long his match was, people would be counting. So he had some following. When he came up around WrestleMania 32, when he participated and won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
Yep.
I popped so hard. I remember making a really strong drink and then downing that in one shot in his honor for winning that Battle Royal.
For Bishop Dyer.
And then I feel like he got a run with the United States Championship. Mm-hmm. He did have a tag team title run, didn't he?
on the main card.
Or am I remembering incorrectly?
Remember. I remember he got the stuff with the
Wolf Dogs. Absolutely amazing TV.
The stuff with Apollo Crews, WrestleMania matches. He talks about a lot about the fact that he got to stand outside Madison Square Garden and
he got to main event Madison Square Garden against The Undertaker.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Like that in and of itself, even if you don't have those main championships, those world championship accolades to your name, main eventing Madison Square Garden against The Undertaker, that is the peak of the wrestling business.
Yeah.
And the fact that Baron Corbin was one of those puts him in that upper echelon.
The interesting things that he talks about, I guess, from his current stance is that like now he's a free agent. So he went to the GCW match and he wrestled with Josh Barnett. He hasn't entertained anything from WWE because they didn't fire him or anything. They just didn't come to a new contract. They just couldn't come to terms for money. And he said as well that his wife's the CEO of a company and stuff, so money is not his problem.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, look, let's go our separate ways, see what happens. And he wants to see what the independent circuit can do for him. And he sort of talks pretty openly, like I said, it's a 2-hour podcast.
I have to go watch that.
Around stuff like how the difference between what an independent life is like and what a WWE life is like. Because he never had the indies. And that was why he kind of was always pushed down in NXT a little bit. It was, you got Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Adam Cole, Roddy Strong, all these guys that have gone through ROH and through the independents. Baron was NFL, WWE. That's it.
And I feel like those we get a lot of those talents that come from the NFL. They have an injury that essentially ends their NFL career, but they can still do active sports.
Very athletic.
And then they make the jump to WWE. I feel like a lot of those get overlooked in some terms.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure Brock had a bit of an aura about him in regards to that. Goldberg, Roman Reigns. Like some of the most famous and key talents that we've had in WWE history have made that jump from NFL to WWE, and they've been the pinnacle of the company. Yep. So I don't feel like it's something where people need to use that as ammo against them.
No, and I think the stories that he tells essentially about the differences, right? When you're with WWE, you get a phone call from whoever from the office that says, hey, you're on SmackDown, you're on this PLE, you're on Raw, your flight's at 7 o'clock Thursday, you need to be at the airport. By this time, you'll be picked up by a guy named Gary in a Ford Escalade. He'll pick you up, he'll drive you to the show, that you're staying at this place, and it's all booked.
Yeah.
Whereas these independent stuff, like with GCW, they were like, sure, 100% we'd love to sign you, it'll be X amount of money, whatever. Can you just
your own way.
Get to the Hammerstein Hall Ballroom in Philadelphia for 8 p.m. Friday night, thanks.
Yeah. And then it's on you to book your flights, book your accommodation, make sure all the timing and everything is
and a lot of that
set.
They comp with some of the costs, but in general, it's on the talent. And he goes in a lot of saying that he's now at a point of his career where he's happy to support them. Like he goes, it's like he said that some of the guys will say, look, I think he doesn't name names, which is good, but like I'm such a good indie wrestler, I want $1,000 an appearance.
Yeah.
When you look at your booking at a school bloody basketball hall with 400 people, they're selling him at $20 a ticket.
Does that mean we could possibly pitch to get him at Slam?
I mean, you'd have to pay for his flights and stuff, but like he'd be into it. I think the main thing that he said was that independent wrestlers have to understand. I think maybe this was Matt Cardona as well that said it on the Ariel Helwani podcast, because I watched that too. Indie wrestlers have to understand that, like, just because you think you're worth $2,000, if the show you're going to has 50 people in a hall and that show is going to make $3,000, no indie booker is going to spend $2,000 of their profit they're making on one wrestler.
Yeah.
You have to understand that if you're at that show, you then have to hustle and sell your merch and get your next booking and get people to follow you and get people to buy your stuff, because that's what those shows are for. It's not a paycheck to paycheck kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's where maybe the guys like Baron and Cardona and Mustafa Ali and, Nick Nemeth, etc., don't need the money. So they're not asking for heaps of money for their shows. They're doing what they can on the indie circuit to raise the indie circuit.
And then they're doing the selling your merchandise, offering photo opportunities. And we saw it with World Series Wrestling in July last year. We had Matt Cardona, we had Nick Nemeth, we had Brian Cage. Like, we had so much top tier talent on the indie circuit, and they were there $50 for a photo opportunity, and you have like 50 people line up. You're making bank doing that. And Baron's come out and said now that he, and we say it all the time when someone gets released or doesn't have their contract renewed, do a Matt Cardona.
Yep.
Baron's come and openly said he will be doing that. He will be going across the indie circuits. He doesn't want to pay any attention to a contract offer from TNA or AEW. He wants to just go around everywhere, anywhere that will have him. He wants to go there and pitch in and put his effort in.
I'm really struggling to think of what he wants to call himself.
Bishop Dyer.
No, but it's like the something Bishop Dyer, and it's like the nomad. The nomad. So he's just, I want to go everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't have a home. I'm going to go everywhere.
It makes sense. And especially with that name, the nomad, Bishop Dyer. And he goes into a lot of detail on CBB about how he came up with that name. It's kind of a play on Baron Corbin and the lone wolf Baron Corbin.
A bishop is higher than a baron.
Bishop is higher than a baron. A Dyer is a lone wolf sort of figure. So it all works. It all makes sense. This is the next step of his career, and we wish all the best to him. Hopefully, we will see him sometime down in Australia.
All right, I think we spent enough time talking about Baron Corbin.
Absolutely.
Let's go. We've got a lot of things to touch on.
Should we? I want to start with AEW because we were potentially somewhat controversial last week, shitting on AEW Brisbane Grand Slam.
I think we were pretty valid in doing so.
At the time, yes, we were valid because we had one match announced, which was Timeless Toni Storm.
It wasn't Timeless, it was just Toni Storm.
What? Mike, my apologies.
She's only timeless as of today.
As of today. We'll get
She's
into
back.
that very shortly. Very shortly. Toni Storm versus Mariah Rowe. That was our only match that had been announced. And we were kind of concerned. We had come to accept the fact that we probably weren't getting Kenny Omega, MJF, Will Ospreay, Cope, FTR, Young Bucks, yada, yada, yada. And if you want to go check it out, head to our video on YouTube from last week. Head to our short clip that we uploaded on Instagram, TikTok. Have a look.
There's a lot of comments. A lot of people have a lot of opinions on it, which is valid, and we love the interaction from everybody.
I will go out on a limb and say you are welcome for us manifesting
we did this.
Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay versus the Don Callis family. Because we said last week, Will Ospreay came out 2 weeks ago on Dynamite to save Kenny Omega. And I was like, oh, that got my hopes up for a potential tag match.
There's no way Tony Khan do that, though.
No way Tony Khan's going to book Kenny Omega in Brisbane. And then what happens this week on Dynamite to open the show? Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay, they have a face-to-face. They iron out the details. They are teaming, and they are fighting Konosuke Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher in a tag team bout. AEW Grand Slam Brisbane.
So,
absolutely astounding. You are welcome.
To counteract your point, I appreciate that they're coming. I can't wait to see them. They're going to be fantastic to watch.
It's going to be amazing.
It's
all our conjectures.
Why does Kenny Omega trust Will Ospreay? The last time you guys had a match, Will Ospreay, Tiger Driver, tried to break Kenny Omega's neck.
Screwdriver
to the head.
He tried to kill you.
But their feud from 2023 was one of the best. The match at Wrestle Dream, the match at Forbidden Door, brilliant. And now you're just like, oh no, let's just be
let's just
all right, you can go, mate. Let's be chums.
Put the past aside.
Hey, shake hands. We're good. Let's go. Oh, yeah,
let's go, mate. Let's go.
What
teach
are you doing?
Don Callis a lesson.
I don't, and I think I said this last time when we were talking about AEW, and I think we were talking about Kenny Omega going to WWE, and there's obviously a lot of conjecture around that, and we'll leave that to the comments.
A lot of conjecture on our social media pages. Make sure you visit those comments.
But the point that I made was that as good as all the matches are that Kenny Omega can have, he can put on 5-star matches with Takeshita, he'll put on a match with Fletcher, he'll put on a match with Ospreay, they're all going to be fantastic. There's no goddamn story. None of it makes sense. And this match doesn't make sense. Yes, Ospreay hates Fletcher, he hates the Callis family.
Yep.
Omega obviously hates Callis and the Callis family, sure. Yeah. But those two should not be friends. This is the exact point that WWE is making with Drew and Seth and KO. In that Cody Rhodes, we don't trust you because no matter how good you are and no matter what the crowd now thinks of Roman Reigns, you should not trust him. He was the bloodline. He was the champion for 4 years. He is not your friend. And here we've got in AEW where they've just gone, oh yeah, fair enough.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend. mind. Oh, let's wipe the history aside. Let's focus on the future.
The match will be fantastic. I can't wait to see them.
It's going to be amazing.
But the story behind it and the way that AEW books it, and even the horribly way that they shot the stupid part of the two of them climbing up on a little thing, and then Kenny Omega's music hits and he's like, I haven't said my catchphrase yet. Can you stop my music so I can say bang, bang, thanks, mwah. Like, it was... Look... It's where the best wrestle, and if we just go bell to bell, it's fine. But God, AEW is still such a cluster.
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah. Are we... Do you want to talk about Timeless now?
Yes, let's, because we actually watched AEW Collision today.
I know, what a shock horror.
I think this is a first for both of us sitting down and watching AEW Collision together.
Almost live too.
Solely because the fact that while I was watching Saturday night's main event, I was on my social media pages and I saw Timeless Toni Storm is back. And I thought, we've got to watch that segment. How did it come about? We had the face-to-face between Mariah and Toni. You're just the rookie. Slap to Toni Storm. Mariah May walks away. And then she grabs the microphone. She starts talking about how the best performance of an actor is to portray themselves. And you have just witnessed the performance of a lifetime. Takes the jacket off, takes her shirt off. She's got a Timeless Toni Storm crop top on. Takes her pants off. She's got the tights and the fishnet stockings. And Timeless Toni Storm is back to face Mariah May at AEW Grand Slam Brisbane.
And I don't care. I don't
Cannon
care.
fodder. I think we all saw this coming potentially. Because why would you just have this I'm a rookie story play out?
Look, the whole point that she was like dropped on her head and had amnesia was silly. I like the plot twist that it's her acting and I get the character for it. I just don't care anymore. I was glad when we moved on from Timeless Toni Storm because I thought, good, we're done. She can now progress to a new character. She can do new things. Even if it was moving from Timeless Toni Storm in the 50s to Timeless in the 80s and she's a different sort of character, cool, move it on. But if we're just going to go back to where we were,
I think there is, and we've discussed it on the podcast previously, having that Timeless Toni Storm character evolve through the years of Hollywood would be a much better way to have this character evolve throughout her wrestling career now, rather than this whole amnesia thing, which I was kind of on board to start with because I was like, this is interesting, let's see where this goes, but it didn't really go anywhere. It was just her being a rookie, and look, it kind of bugged, we are Australian, it kind of bugged me that some other Australian platforms were jumping on board and be like, oh, the rookie Timeless Toni Storm wins the Battle Royal, gets the #1 contender spot. It didn't sit well with me. Like, the story didn't have enough of a payoff for me to invest in that character and try and support that character of being a rookie.
I liked Harley Cameron's song to Mercedes Moné. I think if she comes out for a match, that'll be fun. She won't win.
Look, I feel like they wouldn't have done that if they weren't going to confirm that match at some point in the coming weeks, in the 3 weeks until AEW Grand Slam. So I think we can somewhat confidently say we will have Harley Cameron versus Mercedes Moné for the TNT Championship.
Yep. And I'm pretty sure we can confidently say at some point we're going to have the Hounds of Hell now officially confirmed as the Hounds of Hell.
Officially confirmed. They won their tag team match on Collision as well, so that's absolutely fantastic.
Big words.
New era for them.
New era with the tag titles.
We've had a few libations today.
A few libations.
Yeet.
So, do you feel him? Do you feel him, sir?
Do you feel him?
Do you feel him, sir?
The greatest post-PLE press conference in history.
So good.
That's
a lot of AEW talk. Let's move on.
That's nearly everything to talk about from AEW this week.
The Hurt Syndicate Hurt people now have the tag titles.
Yeah, which was really good. I think that's a great decision because Private Party hasn't been doing absolute crap with those tag titles. Whether that's a booking decision or whether that's just them not being that great, I'm not going to touch that stone, but Hurt Syndicate being tag team champions, that's good for business moving forward. Give that a tick, move on.
And farewell to Christopher Daniels' career.
Yes.
Well played. That was
he's gone. He's done.
It was good that he retired.
I really liked the. It's almost like a look of regret on Hangman's face when.
Yeah, he didn't realize what he was doing.
Yeah, he didn't realize what he had done to Christopher Daniels, and the fact that Christopher Daniels said to his face, that was my last match. And you could see he was just like, oh shit. Like, because at one point they were friends.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, it's come back. Like, oh shit, I just retired my friend. Yep. So it's going to be interesting to see what comes around of that, whether it's actually Christopher Daniels' retirement or not. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's going to play into another storyline, but we'll let that sit. It looks like it's going to be Hangman MJF for a little bit after MJF is done with Jarrett. We'll see what happens.
Before we go to WWE, because everyone likes us talking about WWE, we'll get there.
Let's talk about Genesis. TNA Genesis. Almost forgot about that.
Let's talk about TNA.
Because that kicked off the week, and what a way to kick off the week. Because say his name, and he appears. We believed in Joe Hendry, and he is... terrible.
Oh, bro.
We believed in Joe Hendry.
He
God damn it!
He's now moved up higher because he's
moved up higher.
He's now a champion.
We believed, and he is the brand new.
He said it again.
We can't do it after every time I say we believe.
Finally.
There we go. He's the brand new TNA World Heavyweight Champion, defeating Nick Nemeth with assistance from John Bradshaw Layfield, taking out Ryan Nemeth, which is very... I like the mirroring of this storyline because at the previous TNA pay-per-view, I can't remember what it was called.
Bound for Glory.
Bound for Glory, correct, thank you. JBL helped Nick Nemeth retain against Joe Hendry by clotheslining Joe Hendry.
Yep.
And now he's helped Joe Hendry retain twice.
Because he does it with Cardona.
He helps him win the title, and then on TNA Impact the following week, essentially like an open challenge sort of thing.
Yeah, and
Matt Cardona comes out to face Joe Hendry for the TNA Championship.
What a match.
John Bradshaw Layfield helps Joe Hendry retain. Excellent way to kick off this new era.
So hang on, so what you're telling me is that Sunday, JBL was at TNA Genesis.
Yes.
Clotheslining somebody helping Joe Hendry win the title.
Yeah.
Then Monday night he was at Raw.
Involved with the New Day.
The New Day, doing the commentary segment with them. Yes. And then Thursday he was back at TNA.
Yep.
He's a busy man.
Absolutely.
None of it with his limo, though.
No. Look, inflation is affecting everyone. The limo's been in the shop for repair. We covered that on Raw.
Is that it?
That's it. Okay, it's in the shop for repair. That's all.
It's fair.
It's fine.
I think it's obviously that's the big thing now that we can have Joe Hendry show up in the Royal Rumble with the TNA World Heavyweight Championship in it. Don't tell me anything about the Jericho Cruise and the dates that that's on. I don't care. I don't want to know about it. Royal Rumble.
Right.
I guess the other two things with Genesis, the big parts were that Josh Alexander lost to Santana and essentially quit.
We all know his contract's been running out, so he's now going to be a free agent sometime in the coming weeks.
So that's now formalised. And Jordan Grace obviously lost to Tessa Blanchard.
Which is, I think, front runner for an early women's match of the year.
I haven't watched it yet.
You need to go... Well, I purchased the pay-per-view. If you do anything in the next week before the next podcast, well, next 2 weeks before the next podcast...
2 weeks.
Go watch that match.
What a tease.
If you didn't know, I'm getting married.
Well, you've said it several times, and we're still going to do a podcast, and he's in the other room.
That Tessa Blanchard and Jordan Grace match was just ridiculous. The constant chaining of moves, the sequences, the big spots, the near falls, they put on an absolute clinic.
And considering everyone says they hate each other.
But like sometimes that's the best thing for business. If people genuinely dislike each other, sometimes they have the best chemistry.
They try and prove each other wrong.
Yeah. And there were a lot of spots, like big power moves from both competitors. I was watching that. Before I was even halfway through the match, I was like, holy shit, early contender for Women's Match of the Year, for sure.
The only other thing for TNA that I want to touch on, there was a lot of tag stuff with...
Moose.
Who cares about Moose?
Moose.
Don't care. The Hardy Boys retain the titles. Congratulations. It's great. They'll show up in NXT at some point. The important story to talk about from TNA and their most prestigious title, the TNA Digital Media Championship. If you haven't seen this in the news, you need to go and find it.
How did I forget about this?
So they have a Digital Media Championship, which was held for a fair while by AJ Francis, who used to be
correct.
Botchy's over the top ropes in WWE.
Hey, he had a medical condition, and that helped him find
flop dollar. Anyway, he was better in TNA, but it was currently held by PCO. If you don't know who PCO is,
Creation 1. Not that great. Look,
He's a 60-year-old French Canadian who pretends to be a Frankenstein, right?
Especially after the last week of what's come out, especially on social media and what happened at GCW the night of TNA Genesis.
That's what I want to talk about. So at GCW, there's an event on the same night as TNA Genesis.
Yes.
And obviously your digital media champion wasn't booked for the pay-per-view, so he went to the indie show in New York instead, comes out, gets a chair, puts it in the ring, puts the title down, and then starts smashing it with a mallet.
What? He missed a few times to start.
It's pretty terrible.
But then he got it.
Because he was meant to do like an interview, and then the guy in the ring was just like, "What in the what's going on?"
Absolute shoot.
A complete shoot. And then they sort of stop him, and then he gets the microphone, and he's like,
Starts talking about the fact that he main evented the highest gate for TNA. He sold the most merchandise for TNA.
cut off.
In the following days, he came out and said, I was the one who was meant to face Kenny Omega in the main event of the first ever Double or Nothing with AEW. And it's like, sure thing, buddy.
If you, like, this is PCO.
Yeah, we'll put the picture right here. We'll make sure Luke puts it
This
there.
guy was
going to main event against Kenny
I'm sure
Omega.
he has a cult following, and he's had a long career, good for him, but, like, he probably needs to take his meds and go back home. Because that shoot was terrible. And the way that TNA sold it off on the show was that his ex-wife, Steph DeLander, kept the title as part of the divorce.
Perfect.
Well done.
And then bringing her real-life partner to be her, like, bodyguard, essentially.
Yeah,
And
Miles
replace
Wagner or whatever.
Mance Warner.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Miles Wagner.
I said Mance Warner.
And let's rewind that.
Anyway.
The fact that they've changed that happened on GCW into a TV storyline. The fact that she won the title in divorce and he only had a replica and yada, yada, yada.
It was a good, great cover-up. But if you haven't seen it, go watch it because it's a mess.
It's
all right.
rough.
TNA done.
Time to move to WWE. Now,
Saturday night's main event.
Yes, Saturday night's main event.
Saturday night's house show. And I am going to stand by it. If you didn't watch it, it doesn't matter.
No,
You didn't miss anything.
No, nothing happened. Nothing happened. Let's go through the card. Kicking off, Rhea versus Nia Jax. We all knew Rhea was going to retain. I will admit, these two put on a much better match than they did at Elimination Chamber at Perth last year.
Yes, I agree.
And it was just
I think a lot of that's because
they went straight to the point. Nia's improved so much in the
Massive.
last 12 months. And you can see, if you go back and watch that Elimination Chamber match, and you watch this Saturday night's main event match with Rhea, stark contrast.
100%.
There were a lot of moves at the start of that chamber match where they kind of didn't get the chemistry right. They didn't execute the sequence right. None of that happened on this main event card.
Yep.
They were just like straight into it. Huge power moves throughout the whole thing. The fact that Rhea hit a code red on Nia Jax is mental to think about.
And she got over with a powerbomb from the top rope.
Yep, got her with the powerbomb.
Then there was the Annihilator.
Yep, the Annihilator on Rhea Ripley's back. And then she went on to win the match after that as well.
Yeah.
Still getting up and hitting that Riptide for the victory.
Look, in terms of the booking for it, Rhea had to win. We got it.
Yeah.
It kind of threw me off a fair amount this week with like Nia coming out saying that I'm going to take you out, Tiffy, and I'm going to win the Royal Rumble and win your title.
I'm going to beat Rhea first and win her title, and I'm going to enter the Rumble with her title, and then we're going to go for your title.
Yeah, that was too messy. So it was kind of like, we know Nia's going to lose this.
Yeah.
But the match was good. Yeah. And for what WWE are trying to do with Saturday night's main event is put it on NBC, put it on a much broader commercial TV channel in the States and get the casual eyes onto it. It worked.
I don't think it'll ever be a case of titles changing hands on.
Well, that goes to the next
For
match. The next match was where I wanted the title to change.
Intercontinental Championship match between Bron Breakker and Sheamus. I feel like this was just your typical Bron Breakker and Sheamus type of match.
Yeah.
It was hard hitting. It was brutal. They had huge spots. Sheamus going to do a dive off the stairs to get a crossbody onto Bron. Him hitting the spear, taking out Sheamus. Like a lot of big spots like that, which happens in every Sheamus match, every Bron Breakker match.
And as our friend Will, who's not a massive wrestling fan, said, that Bron Breakker's attire, which you can see here, looked like a bus seat.
The 90s bus seat. Hopefully you Americans understand that reference because you will have similar bus seats over
I
there.
assume they do.
I don't know. Maybe it's just an Australian thing.
The patterning
designs.
on it is very,
It's very
public
bus.
public train seat and everything.
Public transport.
Look, fine, but this was the point where I kind of wanted to see the title
That's
change.
a surprise. It would have been nice. I assumed Bron would win, so I was just hoping that he'd retain.
Yeah, and it was the spot we knew was going to come when Bron's going to line up for a spear. He goes for the spear, gets brogued, 1, 2.
Kick out.
Should have been a kick out, but it wasn't. It was the foot on the rope.
The foot ever so elegantly, slowly put on the rope.
The only problem I have with that, and the way that the WWE telegraphed it, was that you had the side on camera, and it was like 1, 2, and then they switched the camera to the angle where you can watch his foot. And I was like, oh, well, you've changed camera angles. So we know it's there it is. But otherwise, yeah, great match. I want Sheamus to win this IC title early enough in the year.
He does need to at some point this year.
And look, if they want to do it at WrestleMania now, then do it. But then John Cena has to win it before the end of the year as well.
Yeah, he can beat Sheamus for it.
Sheamus.
Moving on. Next segment that we had was the title surrendering.
Don't care.
Cody Rhodes and KO. It didn't accomplish much. Let's be real.
Was it because we had a barbecue and friends over and we were eating sausages and burgers and drinking lots and we just didn't care?
Yeah, perhaps.
It just didn't grab me.
Let us know below if you actually enjoyed this segment. We thought it was a little bit average.
I watched, I think, Santi during the week, and he had said the only way that this segment works for him is if Kevin Owens package pile drivers HBK.
And he
tried.
He got to it, but then he got super kicked by Cody. And then we got HBK delivering a switch in music.
A proper super kick.
The super kick. Not a thrust kick.
I think the feud between these two is fine. They were both obviously in each other's face. They talked it up. It didn't make me more keen to see the Rumble match. It didn't make me less keen to see the Rumble match. It was quite good. But again, to the point of what WWE want this event to be, you got millions of eyes on a casual TV network at 8 p.m. on Saturday night watching your main event for next week on your pay-per-view show ready to go. So even if that gets 20,000, 30,000 extra people being like, hey, those two guys really hate each other. A ladder match? Oh, look at those titles, and that looks pretty cool.
Those titles look pretty smicky.
If all it accomplishes, it's a win.
That's a win for WWE. That's all they need. No more TV ratings. Just buy rates and subscribers on YouTube.
Just Peacock rates.
Netflix. Yeah. Next, the much anticipated Godzilla versus Kong, Braun Strowman versus Jacob Fatu.
I don't remember this match.
I think we were a little underwhelmed, to be honest, because we had it kick off in a pretty emphatic way. But for us Australians watching on YouTube, very shortly after the match started, we cut to an ad break. And then once the ad break returned, we had the announce table spots and then the repeated
the hip attacks
in the corner, and then the match was done.
I think they'd kind of booked themselves into a corner.
Yeah.
You can't have Fatu lose.
No.
But you also don't want Strowman to lose because he's so big and strong, and you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So I think that the DQ was the right call, or a non-finish. Yeah. I'm okay with if you give Fatu the loss as a DQ. I kind of was hoping for a double count out or something like that. But the way that he just kept hitting hip attack, and then he wouldn't stop.
And then he threw the ref out. Yep. That caused the DQ.
And the security guards threw them out.
Strowman was just covered in blood.
It was good. It
made Fatu look like he was an absolute monster, which is what we needed.
Absolute animal. But again, nothing happened. But what happened was what was needed for the story.
Yeah.
So you can completely have missed all of this entire show, and you'll sit down for Raw and nothing will have changed. But watching it, you saw progression in the story that will be fine, and you'll get a 30-second clip for it on Raw, and you're like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Speaking of Raw and nothing changes, Gunther retains his World Heavyweight Championship against Jey Uso, which there were a lot of late theories about the fact that Jey was going to potentially win the title, which are now unsubstantiated because he did not, and it was a typical Gunther match. Back and forth, the underdog started coming up above a little bit. Jey Uso almost got the victory on a couple of occasions. And then it was just like chop, chop, powerbomb, 1, 2, 3, done. That's all we need to talk about.
Yep.
It's just, that's a typical Gunther finish.
But that's what you need to do. It's how you need to book Gunther to be dominant and strong as your world champion.
Yeah, especially coming into this WrestleMania season. He needs to be a champion that people are going to be like, I want to take you down. I want to topple you off the top of the mountain. Because he needs to go back up to the top of the mountain, for sure.
What notes do we have from Raw? Because the only note I have written down from Raw was the CM Punk promo, where he essentially calls out everybody and he says that John Cena, I still can't see you beating me in the Royal Rumble. I also don't understand, and I think wrestlers have to stop this, okay? And I'm going to put this out there to all professional wrestlers, be it WWE stars going into Royal Rumbles, independent wrestlers, when you go to a Battle Royale. Stop saying you're going to throw 19 other men over the top rope. Or 29. You're not doing. No one ever has thrown out 29 people. Ever.
You don't even come up against that many people in the Rumble, especially if you start from 15 or 20 or 25.
Unless you are number one and you throw literally every person out, which has never occurred, you're not throwing 29 people out. So stop saying it, okay? Say, I'm going to throw as many people out as I can. I'm going to eliminate all the stars. I'm going to win. I'm going to point to the side. Whatever you want. Stop saying you're throwing 29 people out because you're not.
Point to the sign.
And if you want to say, if Hulk Hogan shows up, you throw his dusty ass out and destroy Hulkamania, thank you, God, CM Punk. That was a fantastic line.
Fantastic. Loved it. Everyone was raving about it on social media. Perfect line.
And I was very clear that Hulk Hogan was not on Saturday night's main event.
Thank God for that. But we did get Ted DiBiase, which is much better option.
And Alundra Blaze, and Mark Henry. Because we didn't get Alexa Bliss.
Speaking of Alexa Bliss, let's touch on that news that's come out during the week. All plans for Alexa Bliss's return have been cancelled. Done. Do you know why?
Why, Reece? Tell me why.
Contract issues.
So I think what I'd heard on this was that they wanted her to come back on her previous contract.
Yeah, this is the same thing I've heard.
And she was like, yeah, but that was like 2 years ago.
Apparently her team said that no, that was X amount of years ago. She needs to come back on this level of pay. Couldn't come to agreement. Plans got cut. You've been away for... I don't necessarily disagree.
2023 Royal Rumble.
I don't know what her pay was. I'm not going to start getting into that.
I don't think it'd be bad.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point. I don't think it would be bad, and I don't feel like the fact that you've been away for 2 years and wanting to come back on more money when you're not, respectfully, I love Alexa Bliss, but you're not the sort of name that is a Rhea Ripley, a Charlotte Flair, a Becky Lynch. You're not at that level where you can command more money. I don't think she's at that level.
I think the bigger problem to that is not so much the name value, it's the world of business. What have you done for me lately? She hasn't sold more merch. She hasn't been part of storyline. She hasn't done anything to increase her value.
Exactly.
So I can see why WWE as a business will be like, well, how about you come back, and if everyone loves you and you start selling a heap of merch, cool, we'll talk about this in 6 months.
Renegotiate.
Because I think that's what Baron did. If you listen to him on his podcast, there was a point when he was on a minimum, not a minimum, but like a lowish deal, and they went to offer him another 5-year deal, and he said, look, respectfully, no. I'm going to back myself in here.
Yeah.
Give me a 12-month deal, and I want these things. And if at the end of the 12 months we're not good, then I'll go. But if we are, we'll renegotiate. And that was the year he went on. I think he went to Money in the Bank, did everything they wanted, had one of his best years, and then they upped him at the end of it for another 4 years or something. So he bet on himself and won. I think that's the point you got to look at for these kind of wrestlers, where they're like, I get it, and I get cost of living, because trust me, if I could get more money for my job, absolutely I would do it as well.
Yeah.
But you kind of have to be at a point now where you haven't been on TV, you haven't wrestled for 2 years. Come back,
it's a long period of time.
Prove that you're still wanted and that you're still as good as you were, which I'm not doubting she will be.
Yeah.
And then ask the money. Don't do it before you're even back.
Yeah.
Because that's where we get to this point now, where we've all booked her for a return with the Wyatt Six. Never happened. We're all booking her for a return at the Royal Rumble. Now probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
Because of, red tape.
It's mighty unfortunate. We'll touch on a couple of things from Raw this week.
I'm pleased to, because I've forgotten most of them.
I did take some notes.
Oh, I'm so proud of you.
Actually, from SmackDown, the first note I have is we've had more women confirmed for the Women's Royal Rumble, which is fantastic. It does further elongate that field. Is that the right terminology?
I mean, I guess.
I don't know. I've had too many drinks. I'm
going to play Negative Nancy again here.
Kick it off. Because we've had Charlotte Liv, Naomi, and Bianca all confirmed themselves. Nia did come out, but she was already confirmed the week prior. So I don't know why she reconfirmed herself this week. That made no sense.
When she already had a title shot on Saturday night that she didn't need to worry. Anyway, Negative Nancy here. This goes to the point that we said a couple of weeks ago that Triple H doesn't know how to book Royal Rumbles. The men's Royal Rumble has been booked, to be fair, it hasn't been booked well in storylines. It's been booked well that it is all superstars and they're all coming out saying that I want to win and they all have a valid reason to win. Roman needs to win to get his title back. Yep. Punk needs to get it to main event WrestleMania. Rollins needs to do it to stop Punk doing it. Cena needs to do it because it's last year. Like, everything has a valid reason. We all get it, right?
Yeah.
Why Charlotte need it?
She's come back trying to reprove herself.
Why does Naomi need it?
Because she needs Bianca? A better character.
What about Liv? Like, all of them is, I want a main event WrestleMania. Sure, get it. But, like, this whole segment was just, hey,
I'm going to be in the Rumble.
Every woman on the roster.
I'm going to win.
And, like...
That was it. That was it.
It even got me with Tiffy out there cutting her promo because she's the champion of SmackDown. And then Rhea comes out. And now we've got Strapley, which is...
What a fucking name.
So great. But, like, I was like, why is Rhea here? This makes no sense.
And then everyone
and I was like, oh, so this is the segment where every woman comes out for the Royal Rumble and they all get into a brawl and there it is. That's how we booked the Royal Rumble. Yeah. It's poor, but I get it.
Yeah.
And they ran out of time to do actual storylines going into the Royal Rumble. But again, this is the gripe that we've said with Triple H is that he doesn't book them well, but then the actual match or the payoff or the finish is definitely worth it.
Oh, absolutely.
So it'll be a great Royal Rumble. I think Charlotte is still winning based off the fact that she's had these two promos. Now the promo from SmackDown this week with her saying she's coming back in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, confirmed.
I think that's pretty clear. But I mean...
It telegraphs it pretty well.
It was fine. The Meechin and Chelsea stuff, fine.
Why are we continuing this fucking feud? Oh my God.
Every other woman...
I was watching it live and I was just like, why are we doing this again? Chelsea won the title and then she won the match the other week on SmackDown and beat Meechin. Why the fuck did they win the tag match and then why the fuck are we doing another number one contender? Like, why? Oh my God. Oh, it's so... This is more infuriating than the fucking NXT situation around the Women's North American Championship and booking Stephanie Vaquer to be the number one contender and having Shotzi pin the champion and then having them face up for the number one contendership and then fucking having Stephanie Vaquer lose. Fuck, it just doesn't make sense. Oh my God.
Didn't realize I was going to trigger you so hard when I said Chelsea Green.
It's just... They did say... In that backstage segment, I will be calm.
Sure.
Because Meechin and BFAB confronted Piper and Chelsea backstage, which is when we got the confirmation that we'll be having the match next week. Piper and Chelsea said, we need more backup. And I've seen everyone on social media, Matt Cardona, get your fucking heads out of your asses. If you paid attention during SmackDown, in the background of a segment, Piper was talking to Blair Davenport. Don't get your hopes up, please.
How good's that backup, hey?
Don't get your bloody hopes up. Don't get your hopes up.
I thought it was
not Matt Cardona.
I thought it was going to be Awesome Kong, and it's not.
The Awesome Kong return, that'd be sick. Oh my God.
Yeah, look, we went off on a mad tangent there. What else are we talking about?
We're on the topic of SmackDown, so let's cover
because I don't remember anything else from Raw.
Well, I've got notes from Raw, but on the topic of
Sami
SmackDown.
Zayn, Kevin Owens and stuff. Yeah,
we'll talk about that in a second. The tag team match has been confirmed for the Royal Rumble. DIY versus Motor City Machine Guns in a 2 out of 3 falls match.
Look, this would be a 4.5 star match. It'll be great.
It'll be absolutely fantastic. DIY are going to retain.
I said this to you yesterday when we were talking about stuff. I said, look, when you've got a pay-per-view like the Royal Rumble, where you've got 2 hour-long 30-person matches, you need to book another hour of stuff.
Ladder match. 2 out of 3 falls, done. Yep. That's all that's needed. Those 4 matches, that's it. That's
but you can't put like the US title and the IC title and those things in there because those people will be, or people...
That's why they were on main event.
Yeah, but also the people in that vortex
will be in the Rumble.
Are in the Rumble.
Yeah.
Whereas the tag guys, every time you ever see a tag person enter a Royal Rumble, they never win.
No, you're not winning.
Even when it was Matt Hardy or Bubba Ray Dudley, you were like, cool, whatever. But never them, because it was never Devon, because he never entered a Royal Rumble. Very interesting fact.
Could this be the year?
Devon goes in the Rumble?
He goes in the Rumble.
No. So I think this match will be fine. I like the idea of the 2 and 3 for stipulation. I think they are both very talented. It'll be a very good match.
Yeah, it's going to be a great match.
I hope DIY retains.
Yeah.
And we work towards another big multi-man match at WrestleMania.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's rewind to the beginning of the week. And let's start talking about Monday Night Raw, because one of the huge things that came out this week was that confrontation with KO and Sammy. And you summed it up really perfectly, the fact that KO was gaslighting the shit out of Sami Zayn.
Yep.
Because
we're best friends, man. We've done this for 20 years.
You're going to be there to help me, right?
I'd be there for you. So you'll have
help Roman Reigns with his situation. You're going to help me with my situation, right?
And just
you know I'm right.
If everyone's asked, everyone wants KO versus Sammy at WrestleMania. We could do it for the title.
You can help win the Rumble. I can help you win the Rumble, and then we can have our match at WrestleMania. Just that alone, I was like, are they going to fucking do it? Oh. Are they going to have KO win? Is Sammy going to win the Rumble? I got so excited at that.
That would be fun.
I got so excited.
Won't happen. And then obviously the end match with Drew and Rollins, and then Sammy accidentally kicking Seth.
Yep.
It's probably going to lead, hopefully, to the KO Seth Drew circle of hate.
It's got to.
And them getting
circle
together.
Of hate.
Trio of hate? Triangle of hate.
I could get down.
The hate triangle.
No. No, rewind. I could get down with the circle of hate as a faction name.
All right.
It's almost extremely dumb, but I could get down with it.
If you like it, Triple H, again,
slide in the DMs.
WrestleMania
flights
tickets.
and accommodation, WrestleMania tickets.
Raw and SmackDown. And look, now we'll push it because we've given you like
NXT.
Raw Rumbles.
Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame. Backstage Hall of Fame. That's what we ask.
Let us have our microphone and we'll do some cheeky interviews.
Or can we sit like in the part where the wrestlers sit? Like, where they keep cutting to like Bully Ray and stuff. We'll be in there.
We'll have our big Dudham signer.
And an Australian flag, and we'll just be like,
yeah.
That's it. That's all we ask.
That's all.
Perfect.
Penta had another fantastic match, defeating Pete Dunne.
Poor Butch.
Poor Butch. He's copping a lot of shit.
I can't wait for bloody Mustache Mountain to come back. Tyler Bates.
Mustache Mountain. Tyler Bates. Yeah, I'd see a Rumble appearance as his return, perhaps. A face-off with Pete Dunne, and then you have suspected that they will reunite. Tyler Bates will knock some sense into Pete Dunne. What are you doing, mate? Let's just get back to business. Smashing people, going for those tag titles. Bloody done. I reckon they'll go for a feud between the two. So let's see what happens.
Wouldn't care for it.
I know, but it would be a banger.
Banger.
A banger.
After banger.
Some quick notes from NXT. All championships that were defended this week on NXT, the NXT Heavyweight Champion, the North American Championship, and the NXT Heritage Cup. Every single champion retained this week.
You
don't care about the NXT Heritage Cup.
The Heritage Cup
am over that stipulation.
The worst. I can't stand the match where it's like 3-minute rounds and it's just overbooked.
Especially the fact that we get ad breaks and you miss a whole round where someone gets a pinfall in fucking ad break. It's just, it sucks the life out of you.
It's terrible, man. Like,
sucks the life out of you.
And when you've got it as what you would be like it's like a boxing style match where it's much more technical and stuff.
Yeah.
And you're giving me bloody Lexus King with his stupid facial hair, making it look like he's the technical wrestler involved.
Hey, he's just trying not to be like his dad, right?
Like, he's picking up the brass knucks. I'm going to use him. No, I'm not, because I'm a good guy. No, I'll just hit him with a low blow instead. It was fucking terrible, man. Move on. Don't care.
Move on.
Trick Williams against Obafemi again. It's sweet.
Hooray. Don't care.
The fucking the family, Tony D'Angelo, not supporting his mates because he's trying to pick up.
No, she was just talking to him and distracting.
And you can't make it. You can't walk away. She's talking.
You can't be rude to a lady like that.
Yeah, you can. Easy. My boys are in a match. I'll be back in 5.
Talk to the hand because the face don't want to hear.
Or you just like, hey, just come to the ring with me, just so I can make sure my boys win their tag match.
Yeah.
Bros before hoes.
Ooh.
Come on, Tony.
Yeah, a lot of speculation.
Up here for thinking, down there for dancing, not for what you're thinking right now, mate.
Dancing. I don't know about you, but I don't dance with my dick.
I wasn't talking. Well, that took a turn, didn't it?
Is that not what you mean?
No, I was pointing down my feet, like where you dance with your...
Right, because like you're pointing down and like there's a table blocking the way. So I just assumed. I'm sorry.
Yeah, valid point.
That's
That's not going on TikTok, let's hope.
Maybe
I just said the word TikTok now. It's now part of our algorithm, so it's going on TikTok.
Oh, the Opus will absolutely pick that up.
Okay, fantastic.
Bailey appeared on NXT again this week.
Oh, yeah.
And we have confirmed for next week, Bailey and Julia versus Roxanne and Cora. Cora is also involved in a title opportunity with the Knockouts Championship in TNA
Masha
as well.
Slamovich.
It's Masha. I think Cora's going to get mashed.
So she should.
See what I did there? Fuck, that was pretty good. That's gold, mate. The only other thing that I've got of note, we've had some roster changes this week. Bailey has been confirmed for Raw.
Yeah, because the transfer window is wide open.
Wide open. Bailey's been confirmed for Raw. We also got the confirmation on SmackDown yesterday. A-Town Down Under will be moving to Raw.
Which is pretty cool.
Damian Priest and The Miz have moved to SmackDown.
And I love that Miz worked so hard to
get A-Town Down Under.
No, but to get away from the Wyatts.
And then now he's there on SmackDown with the Wyatts. And you know what? The first thing, when they had that segment with Nick Aldis, where he's like, you might want to go get some help. I was like, The Miz and Pretty Deadly. Fucking sign me up.
Yeah, okay.
How good would that be?
Yeah. I think I wanted
I don't care about this shit that they're doing with DIY.
I wanted it
see
with
Miz
Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
With
That would have been good.
Weird stuff with Pretty Deadly. I think they would have been fun cannon fodder for
Miz
him.
and Pretty Deadly would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to do the musical. Miz is a Hollywood actor.
Mate.
It works.
You're cooking.
It works.
Sign
me up.
Do it.
Slide in the DM.
Now
it's
NXT tickets, Triple H. Now it's
everything.
NXT.
Fully funded. Trip to America, Las Vegas.
Business class.
WrestleMania weekend. Just us two. No kids involved. Sorry,
please.
Lachlan.
No, please. Yes, please. Great idea.
Absolutely. I've got nothing else of major note to talk to. I think we might wrap it up there.
I think so as well.
Absolutely.
That was me just checking my watch because Greg just walked outside my house. And so thank you, Greg, for making me look at my watch because you hate when I get my notifications. And now I'm talking about you on the podcast.
Yep. And now we're going to tag you as well.
Are we? Yeah.
Can we?
Yeah, it's your fault, Greg.
Can we? Okay. Greg. James.
Oh, let's dox him. It lives in... No, I'm not going to go there.
If you have been watching, thank you for tuning in. This has been the Down Under the Mat podcast. We have been in the Madison Square Garage around the pool table of relevancy, joined by Mr. Dan Danielson. I have been Rowdy Roddy Reese. We're talking all things wrestling, WWE, TNA, AEW, GCW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Slam Pro Wrestling,
Independence.
Worldwide. If you're watching, don't forget to like and subscribe. Head on over to our Instagram page. Follow that. We'd have a massive surge over the last few weeks. Gone from about 170 to nearly 220 over the past month, which is fantastic growth for us. Just follow us.
Nearly at that 1,000 mark. We're still kicking for that 1,000 on YouTube.
1,000 by SummerSlam. That's the goal.
Yep.
Get us to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube by SummerSlam. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time down under the mat. Too sweet, baby!